We are on the verge of a new first robotics season. But before we jump into 2025, let's take a look back at 2024. 3,500 teams competed at nearly 200 events over the course of 2 months, all on a mission to call themselves world champions. With technology evolving faster than ever and strategies changing faster than ever, teams need to have the best bot to have the best shot at winning it all. To put together a top 10 list, we could consider traits like total points scored, overall performance, maybe even awards for design and engineering. But there's one key ingredient that numbers do not factor in, and that is raw vibes. And boy howdy am I one for trusting my gut on this. Here are my top 10 picks for the best robots of 2024. Starting with number 10. 2910 Jack in the Bot and their robot Typhoon. Possibly the most recognizable team out of the PNW, Jack in the Bot and their robot Typhoon get the list started at number 10. Just like their robots from the past few years, 2910 came out with another small bot with big potential. Typhoon's swerve drive and low center of gravity let it speed around for scores and made it too quick for most teams to keep up with. But it wasn't just their motors that got mouths moving. The 270 degrees of rotation on their swivel turret certainly turned some heads. The range of mobility for Typhoon's turret didn't just put the shooter on target, it kept the shooter on target. Mounted cameras followed April tags and always pointed at the goal. No need to worry about turning it back either. The intake would always feed the shooter no matter which way the turret faced, making sure they didn't get it twisted. The time saved on aiming, as well as a 5-node autonomous, made Jack in the Bot the #1 scorer in the PNW district in 2024. However, endgame limitation drops Typhoon lower on the list, but what it lacked in the stage it made up for in the rest of the field. Their speedy auto and fast shots in teleop won them both of their districts and a finals appearance on the Newton field. Leave it to Typhoon to spring into action. The number 9 robot of 2024, 9483 Istanbul Wildcats and their robot Snapfire. The Wildcats make up the number 9 pick and are the only rookie team on the list. Sure, they aren't a true rookie team, but that doesn't stop their robot from being any less impressive. This Turkish delight blazed its way to a 37-9 record and the rank of 23rd offense entering Worlds. Their swerve drive let them glide across the field effortlessly, as well as deliver big hits to any robot standing in its way. Snapfire's intake had polycarb rollers for that extra grip. It let them not lose a handle on notes and avoided jams in the intake. For even more speed, all of their operations were automatic. The arm for the amp, the climb, and the trap all happen at the push of a button. This saved hassle for the driver, but it also saved time for more shots. Their fast multi-shot auto was the best in the whole nation of Turkey and won them an autonomous award, as well as wins at the Bosphorus Regional and Marmara Regional. Their big bot took them big places with a win in the Milstein division for their first trip to Einstein's. Safe to say that this big bot had a big impact on the field. The number 8 robot of 2024, 5940 Bread and their robot Roti. Bread has really risen through the ranks in the last few seasons, and 2024 was no exception. Their robot Roti got everybody talking when they showed off a 6-node autonomous just 2.5 weeks into the build season, with a below-the-bumper feeder and adjustable height on the shooter, dealing with notes both up high and down low, proved to be a non-issue. Their swerve drive let them roll past defenders and toast the competition. Their high-powered offense won them the San Francisco Regional as well as the Central Valley Regional. They also made a finals appearance at the East Bay Regional against some teams who we may or may not see later on this list. 49 points per match earned them the 15th ranked offense in the world, meaning we simply need them on this list. Call it buttering them up, but when it comes to the number 8 spot, Rody takes the cake. The number 7 bot of 2024. 1690 Orbit and their robot Doppler. Sometimes a little goes a long way, and that's surely the case for Orbit and their robot Doppler. 1690 found that it wasn't the size of the bot in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the bot. Orbit put themselves on everyone's radar in 2022, and Doppler built upon that previous innovation. That famous autonomous shooter from Rapid React made a return in Crescendo. Their robot would choose when it had the distance and angle for the speaker in teleop, meaning that Doppler would literally call the shots. The autonomous coding in teleop didn't stop there though. Their winch climbers would adjust to keep it straight if it detected any dipping. So if they needed an extra boost to get a trap note, Doppler did it all by itself. Their speedy shots and speed made them the number 6 scoring bot in the world. Doppler took them to victories at both of their district events, their district championship, the daily division, and of course, their first world championship in team history. Having a reigning world champion this low might be a controversial choice, but they ranked 77th in endgame scoring while ranking top 20 in all other categories. Despite endgame shortcomings, Doppler still took Orbit to new heights. The number 6 robot of 2024. 359 the Hawaiian Kids and their robot Poi Pounder 25. The Hawaiian Kids in their 25th year showed off their 25th installment of Poi Pounder. True to its name, it pounded the competition to a 68-10-1 record and a league-leading 4 regional wins. When it comes to designs, sometimes imitation is the highest form of flattery. Their bot zipped around on a swerve drive inspired by the number 10 pick.
Our drivetrain is the same size as the 2910 bot.
That gives it the speed to outrace competitors to pick up notes with an intake inspired by, you'll never guess who.
The intake is the same thing as the 2910 robot.
But that is where the similarities end, because this intake flips into the shooter. And shoot this robot did, becoming the 7th highest scorer in the world in the regular season. Poi Pounder 25 knew how to light up the room, but that bling isn't just for show. Those LEDs alerted the drivers when the shooter was ready to go. Their shooter arm came in handy for quick and accurate scoring. With a push of a button, the shooter would spring to life for speaker shots, for amp notes, and for endgame. With additional stabilizing rods, Poi Pounder would never end up in a terrible situation. Get it? Because poi is a traditional Polynesian dish made by crushing taro in a mortar and pestle. Something I knew all along, didn't have to look it up, totally didn't think poi was a fish or anything. Anyway, recap time, because it's the halfway point. Number 10. Jack and the Bot and their robot Typhoon turned heads with their twisting turret. Number 9. The Istanbul Wildcats and Snapfire blazed through the competition with big fast bot supremacy. Number 8. Bread and Roti rose to the occasion to toast bots in 2 regional wins. A whole lot of bread puns, but they never go stale. Number 7. Orbit and Doppler showed that small bots can go big places too, as they won literally every event their wheels touched down on. At number 6, we have the Hawaiian Kids and their robot Poi Pounder as it pounded its way to 4 regional wins. On to the rest of the list. The number 5 robot of 2024, 118 the Robonauts and their robot Twister. The Robonauts are no strangers to reaching for the stars when it comes to eye-catching machines, and their latest engineering marvel was certainly out of this world. Twister definitely lived up to its name with a turret that provides a full 360 degrees of rotation. Amidst the sea of white and gold lay an intricate labyrinth of gears and wheels to let the turret do its thing. True to its name, Twister twists the note up through the intake into the turret, allowing it to pick up notes and shoot no matter what direction the turret faced. When the turret does this, every position is in position. Twister touted so many different arms. The diverting arms scored notes into the amp and the trap. Instead of feeding a note through the arm for the amp, the turret trick shot the note into the secondary rollers on the arm. I mean, be kind, rewind on that. Do you kids even know what be kind, rewind means? It's from, we're getting off topic. A pair of hooks sprung to life in Endgame, and a pair of rollers helped stabilize the liftoff, allowing the diverter arm to put a note in the trap. Twister earned them 2 district wins, a win at the Texas District Championship, and a win at the Tallahassee Regional, cause why not? All of those banners added up to an astronomical 93, 20, and 1 season, and the number 5 spot on the list. The number 4 robot of 2024, 254 the Cheesy Poofs and their robot Vortex. It seems like any FRC top 10 video wouldn't be complete without the Cheesy Poofs. So it makes sense that the best team in FRC would have one of the best bots of 2024. Vortex had a fast multi-note auto that would save time by detecting if it didn't have a note at the midline and move on to the next one. Vortex's spinning turret fed from a pizza box,
this feeder box called the pizza box,
that would get notes from the bottom and adjust them to wherever the turret was pointed. And they say no one uses mechanism wheels anymore. Like others on the list, they had their climbing sequence automated, so every part would fall into place with just the push of a button. This reliability made them one of the best endgame scorers in the world, and their speed let them focus on teleop scoring until the final seconds. Their dominant offense won them 45 of their 51 matches, getting banners at the Sacramento and East Bay Regional. They then beat the number 10 bot for the Newton division, en route to another Einstein Finals appearance, where they fell to the number 7 bot. They were the number 2 scorer going into Worlds, the 9th ranked scorer when all was said and done, and the number 4 bot on the list. The number 3 robot of 2024, 1771 North Gwinnett Robotics and their robot Sonic. The name of the game for North Gwinnett and their robot Sonic was autonomous. No team performed better in the first 15 seconds on average than 1771. Instead of going off of a rigid code, Gwinnett segmented their code out, allowing for more precision adjustments based on the paths that their alliance partners or opponents took. So instead of having 1 or 2 paths in auto, 1771 could, in theory, run 74,000 unique route combinations. Wait, 74,000? Geez, that's like some next level Doctor Strange shit happening there. Their auto won them the Autonomous Award at all 4 of their events, highlighted by the masterclass at the Peachtree Championship that literally cleared the floor in finals. But Autonomous is only one phase of the game. Sonic Swerve Drive let them go fast for rings to shoot for assists and for points. They had a pivot shooter allowing them to play amp and teleop and place trap notes in endgame. That pivot shooter proved pivotal in the biggest moments. They ended the year 58-7 with the Peachtree State title and an appearance in the playoffs on the daily field with the number 5 bot. The high-flying notes and coding creativity made North Gwinnett Robotics the number 8 scorer in the world last year, and it makes them the number 3 robot on this list. This is a bot we'll see in highlight reels 74,000 times over. The number 2 robot of 2024. 1678, the Citrus Circuits, and their robot, Nick. It says something about the state of the game if the team that literally invented this year's challenge doesn't get the top spot on this list. Worth noting that while some of these robots were named after wordplay, Nick got its name in honor of one of 1678's mentors who passed away in 2023. The Citrus Circuits nabbed the spotlight by showcasing a 5-note auto just a week after kickoff. Much like North Gwinnett, the Circuits focused heavily on the fight for centerline notes. And you don't need to tell the Citrus Circuits about how important centerline pieces are in Autonomous. At Worlds, they showcased the 6-note auto in qualification matches. Come playoff time, they would run an auto that left their preloaded note at their starting position and would come back for it after getting centerline notes. Unlike some of the other bots in the top 10, Nick sports an over-the-bumper intake. The intake stores the note momentarily, and the driver can then make the decision to put it in the shooter or the amp mechanism. They sported one of the fastest shooters in the world, and it made them the 3rd best offense in the world heading into the championship. Not much of a shock, considering that the Circuits ran the gamut on scoring for the bulk of their matches. Nick's quick elevator arm made light work of amp and trap scoring, and it indeed had one of the most consistent endgames out there. Speaking of light, just like Poi Pounder, Nick had LEDs that signaled the drivers when it's all good to go. Not 1 but 2 mounted cameras scanned for April tags to track its location and keep their aim true. Nick named them champions on 3 fields during a 56-12-1 season. They won the Silicon Valley Regional as the first pick of the top alliance. They lost in the Sacramento Finals to 254, and then won the East Bay Regional with 254. At Champs, they won the Archimedes Division to give them their record 10th straight Einstein's appearance. When all was said and done, no one scored as many points throughout all 8 weeks of competition than the Citrus Circuits. Their season ended with a loss to the eventual world champions, but it's still an incredible run, and good enough to name them the number 2 robot of 2024. Before we get to the number 1 bot, let's take a look at some honorable mentions. Look, choosing the top 10 from a field of almost 3,500 teams is a tall task, so there are some teams that even I'm shocked didn't make this list, and I made this list. Sorry to Quicksilver and High Tide, you didn't make the cut. Between the 2 of them, they had a 105-20-1 record, as well as 4 regional wins. Quicksilver even won the Milstein division with the Istanbul Wildcats. If you really wanted to, you can make this a list of all California teams. Eagle Strike almost made the list. Their shooting made them the 35th highest scoring robot in the world, with a San Francisco regional win and Idaho regional finals appearance to boot. Speaking of Cali teams, I'm just as shocked as you are that 1323 Madtown Robotics didn't make this list. Their obligatory big bot made big shots as it took them to a second Einstein's finals in as many years, and they proved to be an equally as effective assist bot when needed. They cruised through the Central Valley and Monterey Bay regionals, and their losses in the Einstein finals were 2 of only 7 the whole season. Leaving Cali but keeping with the West Coast, Bare Metal out of the PNW district put on another great season with their robot Baritone, winning a district with Jack in the Bot, but ultimately falling in the Hopper playoffs to Team Rembrandt and Company. Speaking of Team Rembrandts, their robot Coda won them the Wainimi Port Regional, the Ventura County Regional, and the Hopper Division. Averaging 34 points a game, they were the 46th highest scoring bot in the world, but fell short of reaching our top 10. Now, for the number 1 robot of 2024, 2056 OP Robotics and their robot Low Key. Don't be fooled by the name, because Low Key was anything but. Like the meta, Low Key featured a swerve drive with a high gear ratio, meaning they had unmatched speed and unstoppable power. Defenders had to risk either getting blown past or blown through. They gave it an under-the-bumper intake, allowing it to navigate the open floor plan as well as ensuring that no parts would break following big hits. Big hits, big speed, big shots. And why should Swerve stop at the drivetrain? OP added swerve motors on the intake rollers for an adjustable intake. The Sushi rollers made theirs the farthest shooting bot, routinely scoring buckets from the parking lot, which reduced the time needed to cycle notes. Let's look back to the midway check-in during the build season. It seemed that many people agreed that the Quackabot's Robot in 3 Days would lay the foundation for robot designs. Enter OP with an arm that resembles a sort of inverted Quackabot. Whereas the Quackabot meta runs a shooter on a pivoting arm that doubles as an over-the-bumper intake, OP's shooter pivoted independent of the intake. This allowed them to adjust the angle of the shooter when needed with guidance from cameras eyeing those April tags, as well as letting them score easily in the amp and trap. Their need for speed didn't stop with wheels. Their hooks for endgame fed from a massive pneumatics tank, allowing them to hang in less than a second. Spending no time on hanging meant Low Key could keep attacking the speaker until the very end. OP once again dominated the province of Ontario with a pair of district wins, a district championship win, and a World's Division win. The combination of fast auto, fast teleop, and fast endgame made Low Key the number 1 scoring robot in the world and the number 1 robot of 2024. Let's not forget that they finished the regular season undefeated and entered the Einstein field with only 1 loss. Unfortunately for them, however, the next 2 matches would be their last. A loss to the Rembrandts sent them to the lower bracket, where they were ultimately knocked out by the Barker Redbacks and the number 2 robot on the list. Although they finished short of the mountaintop, OP still had a robot that was too OP with it. 2024 was another exciting year packed full of exciting robots. Did you agree with this list? What teams should have been included? Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out on my next upload, and leave a comment about what you'd like to see in the future. Congrats to the top 10 robots, And congrats to the other 3400 for another incredible season. I will see you in the next video, and remember, gracious in victory, professional in defeat. Amen.
And they will head across the front side of the field. 13 seconds left. Newton with the lead. 109 to 96. Here comes Team Scream with a trap on stage right. Here come the Cheesy Poofs with a trap on stage right. 3 seconds left. Time expires in match number 2.